Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Geek Authority Show, where we are going to give you everything and anything that has to do with media, theater, arts, conventions, collectibles, anything you could think of. And today we're featuring somebody very special who has contributed so much to the theater community, live theater community, as well as he works with a lot of actors and so on and so forth as representing them and all kinds of things. So he's in the business in all kinds of details, and he's also an actor, a very busy actor, and you can see him in a lot of places, and we'll talk about that. It is Jake O'Flaherty. How are you, sir?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lorenzo. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You want to tell us a little bit about, your background? Have you always been a theater bug or acting?
Okay. Well, I've been acting as a member of the Screen Actors Guild this is my 25th year.
Wow.
So, and I'm
He's
really
actually 29 years old.
plus. But I've been very, very fortunate to have a career where I was that 1% that continuously worked.
Okay.
TV commercials, movies, TV shows, voiceovers, things like that, which has been great for me. To do what I love, follow my passions, follow my dreams.
So your first love is the acting part, right?
It really is, yeah.
Okay, because the way we met is you have produced, I don't know, 1,000 plays that I've seen that you've done. Whitefire Theater. You're like a massive producer for live theater. How did that come about?
Well, thank you for that. I was at a point in my life where the commercials were kind of slowing down, and I was getting a little older, and I was trying to figure out how to stay creative. And I wanted to be part of a theater company. And I had been looking around and been asked to do a play here or there over the years. But I found that it wasn't really what I was looking for. I wanted to be involved from the beginning. And I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to possibly direct it and put the show together, and not just be the person who handed out programs and cleaned the bathrooms and waited 1 year to be part of a theater company in order to do a show, which is how some of them operate.
You're speaking you're speaking from the acting standpoint, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, you know what? Right. I'm gonna have to do this myself. I'm gonna have to put it together and start it from scratch somewhere. So fortunately for me, I knew Brian Rasmussen over at the Whitefire Theater, who had been running it, quite successfully for many years.
In Sherman Oaks, California.
Correct. Right there on the corner of Ventura and Sunny Slope, in the heart of Sherman Oaks.
Hi, Brian.
There. And I gave him a call. I said, hey, listen, this is what I'd like to do. Start something from scratch, but include the actors from the ground up. Part of the reading the scripts together and the casting process together. And they'll learn how to put together a show, not just show up and rehearse. And at first, I think he thought I was kind of crazy. Because
really?
He knows from experience there's so much work involved in that. There really is so much work. And
so by work you mean finding the project, finding the right people, casting,
exactly.
Production side, the whole bit.
The whole bit. When you have to find scripts, and in order to find the scripts, you've got to read them all, and then you've got to put together the best ones with the cast that you have that's appropriate in there. And that whole process right there can be exhilarating, and it can be really frustrating also at the same time, because you want all the actors to shine, and the director has to understand what the capabilities are and how to make this work. And then as a producer, I have to, make this as a production, that this is something that's going to flow the whole night and make everybody come in and forget about everything else and have a great laugh and enjoy the show and not feel like, ooh, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Or be moved. I remember being moved several times.
Right. Those are the best, I think. When you have a laughter through tears kind of idea, those are great. Those are my favorite.
It's funny you talked about that. Let me do something here real quick. Give me 1 second, and since you brought that up, I want to pop up something real quick. And give me a sec.
All right.
and we can pause these at any time. This is kind of the thing that he's talking about here. Putting a show, something like this together. Whoops. Tell me what that's all about as far as, we'll try that again. We'll do the white background. There we go. Thing called Company Shorts.
Right.
That you produce that. And
Correct. Yeah.
you can see there's, I don't know, 1, 2, there's 8, 9, 10 different scenes. And these are literally separate mini sketches, all of different subjects, different topics, strung together on this thing called Company Shorts.
Correct. So what we decided to do was, instead of doing a full-on production of one play, we would take 10-minute original short plays. So this would encourage and help support up-and-coming playwrights who had never had their works produced before. So we got submitted hundreds of them for each production, hundreds. And they had to be 10 minutes long, had to be at least 2 characters, and comedy was the general idea in there. And so that concept was a little easier to put together because we could have a show where you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Act 1, 5 in Act 2. If you didn't love one of them, it was okay. It was over in 10 minutes, and the next one would start. And it would give you that kind of roller coaster effect of, whoa, and what's happening next? And oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And
remember this one?
Wait, it's over? It's over? I loved it. Okay, what's the next one?
This one.
And build the enthusiasm and the excitement that way. And for the director, Brian Rasmussen, who would direct all of them, it would give him, you know, a perspective as well, too, where if something wasn't quite working out, he had a more manageable time frame to work with in that to get the actors to where they needed to be, or we could work with the playwright to maybe change it 1 or 2 of smaller aspects of it to make it work for our cast in there. And of course, you know, Brian has insight that's incredible because he has a, you know, 30 to almost 40-year career doing it. So sometimes within a few minutes and sometimes a few days, he would say, okay, I know this is going to work and this is why, and this is how we're going to do it. And we'll put it together. And that, you know, that's the amazing partnership that we had. I think that was part of the great success for almost 8 years of these shows running right after another.
And for people watching this, you got to realize Jake would actually have to find the material. Like he said, scripts would multitudes of scripts.
Right.
Figure out which ones could be produced, meaning practically, and, you know, minimal, I'm assuming, sets and props and all that other stuff.
Correct.
And still have story and drama or comedy or whatever. And then all the actors, and then all, you know, getting Brian in there to direct. And don't you have deadlines? You've got to have.
We do. You know, we set up a frame of 12 weeks time frame there, so that, you know, the actors, we only met on Tuesdays. So from 7 to 10 p.m., everything had to be accomplished in that time frame. So Brian had the theater for other events and film screenings and other plays and, you know, whatever else was going on there. So it was Tuesday night this had to be accomplished in. So we kept it. My job was to be organized and as structured as possible. The actors would come in. They would have the scripts emailed ahead of time if they needed to. We would do some casting tentatively during the rehearsal process, the reading of the script process. What got the best feedback was kept. What wasn't working at the time got pushed to the side for a possible other show. And then we would keep moving forward every week. We had to stay on a timeline. It was important. Yeah.
Wow. And as he's been talking, I've been putting up all the various shorts programs that Jake has produced. And if you look at the individual images, you'll see they're family orientated. They're some are politically hysterical. Some if you look at the upper left there, you'll see the cavemen. I mean, the range of comedy is amazing. I mean, costumes alone. I mean, you guys put some effort and time into it, and I believe that's a therapist session on the top there. And I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, it was important too when you have that show and each one is 10 minutes long, you don't want to have one play resemble another play. So that's also part of the casting process and the reading process. You may like 25 plays, but 6 of them may be very, very similar. So you've got to
Oh,
pick what you think is not only the best of the six, but also the best towards casting of who you have as part of the theater company ensemble already.
so
Because you call the actors to shine, you know.
so as a producer, have you ever picked a bunch and realized, uh-oh, this third one is not quite working, and brought?
Absolutely. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
And it was still a great play. So, you know, with Brian and I, we'd have to realize, okay, this one's going to work. It's just not going to work for this particular show based on the cast that we have.
Ooh.
Or it's working, but this other particular play has maybe a political theme that we would like to express for something different. Or this one touches on a little bit about race or about
Oh,
religion, you know, something that might matter a little bit more, because we were always trying, you know, with each show, not to push the boundaries, but to make the themes matter, not just be farcical or for the sake of comedy, but to actually mean something as well. That was important to us, and
wow.
to the actors as well. We had, as you know, not just the theater critics and reviewers who were coming in, but we had casting directors and agents and managers, producers, writers, directors. I was able to get a lot of industry guests to come to each show, at least 5 and sometimes as many as 10 to come in. So
Right.
this was a huge opportunity for these actors to be seen in a really great light to them, you
Right.
know, and then have that potential one-on-one meeting
After the
after the
show.
show,
I
right?
love that.
In
Not all
a very
theaters do.
relaxed environment. Yeah.
Yeah, not all the theaters do what the Whitefire does, which is after the show, you can literally, the actors come out, they're very cordial. You can talk to them, talk to the writers. You know, some of the really funny ones, you got to, where did you get this idea? And it's like, you're like totally amazed. And for those who don't know, inviting casting directors and agents and producers to these kinds of productions allows not only the actors to be seen and showcased, but the writer, the writer of the piece. And Jake himself, you know, probably made many contacts for himself in terms of the quality of the production and stuff. So,
I was very fortunate. You know, everybody, including myself, had a lot of opportunities that came up due to that. But that was also part of the process. You know, just having everybody leave wasn't enough. We wanted everyone to be engaged after the show. You know, Brian came up with a great idea. Let's have pizza and, you know, sodas, beers, whatever after the show. So
opening
people,
night, yeah.
yeah, and closing night too. So
Oh,
that,
really?
oh yeah, absolutely. So that everybody could have that opportunity to be engaged, even if it was just 10 or 15 minutes after the show. And it made the actors feel great. And like you said, the playwrights were able to shine as well, and to meet the actors who were, you know, part of the program, to meet with Brian Rasmussen, the director, and myself, and to, you know, kind of bask in the glow a little bit of all the other people who had come to see the show. And as you know, most of our shows were sold out. So, you know, it's a 99-seat theater. We really have about 84 to 85 built-in seats, and then we would have folding chairs added
Right.
to most of the shows. So it was a really full house.
Right. And I've always said I wanted to do, like, I'm usually there when you open a show, you know, to cover, to review it. I've always wanted to come back on the last show to see how the plays have evolved, because I'm sure after the actors have done it 12 times, you know, by the 12th time, it's probably like that.
Absolutely.
Is that true?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, actually, the last show is usually the best, because at that point, like you said, the evolution has happened with the actors, and they're at the point where they're so comfortable and relaxed with the dialogue and the movement and the entrances and exits and the props and every little aspect of putting together the production, that they're just having fun with each other.
And they probably know what works, what got that laugh.
Right.
The grabbing of that prop, the reading of that line, whatever. And by then, like, okay, this works and this doesn't, or whatever. So,
right. And the director, Brian, would have worked with them along the way through the course of the show too, because if something isn't working or could be a little stronger, he'll work with them right away. So that's developed by the next show.
Yeah. So everything's punched up and muscled up, and you know.
Yeah.
I got to do that one time. I really have to come and see the final performance, and just because I see the difference.
Now, as you know, too, we also did, Dead Pilot Society, which was a
Oh,
show with more well-known actors and, Emmy Award-winning TV writers and the directors. And we did Hollywood Shorts, which was the version as well with 10-minute comedies, but also
right.
with more well-known actors and
Yeah, I
writers.
just showed a picture of that Hollywood short.
Exactly. So even working with the up and coming actors with the theater company, which was great, but also working with much more established and experienced actors. We had that same system going, that same structure and format, and it worked really well for them too. It gave them an opportunity to be on stage once a week, one night. They could still do their TV shows, still have their auditions, still be with their families, but also have that opportunity for that live theater experience in there. And it worked really well for them too. And the same thing, they would come rushing from Paramount Studios from doing a show and say, okay, I got my script and okay, let's do it. And then the, Emmy Award-winning TV writer would be like, okay, so I changed 2 paragraphs on page 3 and I'm taking out 4 lines on page 6. And you're like, oh, okay, let's do it. And then I'm like double checking my notes and emailing so-and-so, let's lose this prop and I need to add 2 props here. And, quick message to the lighting and tech guy. I think we're going to need some different lighting on this here. I'll have to check in with the director. So that was constantly evolving there.
Okay.
But it was a lot of fun and it was exciting.
I got a couple of those standard kind of questions. Now, as a producer, is there one aspect of it that above all that kind of is your favorite part of doing the producing job? One piece?
Yes. I mean, the producer's kind of like the glue that kind of has to keep everything together. You don't get the attention and the fame like the director does, because he's the one who works directly with the actors and makes everything look polished and ready to go. As the producer, you're making sure that the actors are feeling confident and happy and have their information. That backstage is ready to go with the wardrobe and with everybody's props and places. You're the one who has to listen to them, kind of fall apart for a moment, and the other moment, thank you for giving them the opportunity to show more than what they thought they even had. So just keeping that glue together, whether through the emails and the phone calls and the text, day to day, week to week, feels like a lot in the beginning, but you realize, even in the smallest way, how your contribution can matter to everybody else around, not even for yourself, but just everybody else in there. And that feels good at the end of the show when you see 20 actors who are just smiling because they did it. They worked really hard and they listened and took great direction, and
I believe
people to come and they met great people.
I believe hearing that very wonderful sound of,
right.
when that's said and done, and many houses I've been to, standing ovations, and it's like,
it's really been an incredible experience at the Whitefire for me. It turned out 10 times better than I ever expected, and I learned so much from myself.
Okay. Throw out a funny story. Has anything happened that is behind the scenes, kind of, I guess for lack of better terms, a blooper?
Okay, we had one play, and it was a great play. One of our theater company members had written it, and it was kind of a Western spoof type of thing. So you may remember them because I know you came to all of them, but I won't mention any names right now. And this particular evening performance, the director, Brian Rasmussen, who runs the theater, was literally out of town.
Uh-oh.
I think he was on a vacation with his fiance, or there might have been a health issue with a family member or something, but he had to be out of the state.
Is this the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. But
you said Western.
Yes. So there's a gigantic glass jar of hard-boiled eggs on the bar. And from the beginning, I was a little trepidatious, like, I don't know, glass on stage is never a good idea.
Yeah.
But it was a really big jar, and it was full of, the vinegar with the hard-boiled eggs on it, and it looked so funny. It was a really comical prop, and it was owned by one of the other actors. So, he would take it home every night and make sure that it was safe and bring it in the night of the show, and it was going to be okay. And somehow, during this process, the actor who was behind the bar and the actor who was kind of the cowboy coming in, somebody's lines were forgotten or changed slightly. And so there was a little awkwardness in that transition there of the dialogue, but the audience didn't know because it played really well for the awkward bartender type and for the other character as the cowboy. So they all thought it was great and funny, but somehow the actor lost his footing leaning on the bar, and the bar started to tilt forward, and this gigantic jar of hard-boiled eggs fell off the bar onto the stage floor and smashed open into a million pieces. And
Oh
the
my
vinegar and water just flooding down the stage into the front row,
Into
right,
the
along
front
the
row,
glass.
which is where I
And
sit.
all these rubber hard-boiled eggs just bouncing all over the stage and onto the front row. And we're all backstage like this. How?
Well, from
What are we
the
doing?
from the audience perspective, it was so interesting watching the entire cast kind of freeze for a second and try to remain in their characters and not do that smirk or turn away. It was a moment. It was a very special moment.
Backstage, I can tell you literally, because where I was standing was kind of on the inside of the sound and lighting booth, so I could see all the cameras, so I could see the audience as well as the stage. And I could see all the rest of the actors who are backstage, people who are ready to go for the next scene, you know, or the next play. They're all ready to go. And just like a pin drop, nobody moved, and all of our eyes were darting back and forth, looking at each other like this. What do we do? What do we do? And in my mind, I just said, Jake, just take a deep breath, and we're going to, and go. And I said, you know, like, Tony, grab a broom. Molly, grab a bag. You grab 2 rags. Here's a towel. And we just, everybody, the darkness pulled down for the end of the scene. We left it there for the whole rest of the scene. There were like 3 or 4 more minutes left in that 2-minute scene.
They kept going.
Everybody just kept going. And as soon
With
as
a
the light
smile.
went down, I just yelled, like Brandon, 2 more minutes on the lights, keep them down. And everybody ran out, and we were mopping and sweeping and grabbing eggs and picking up glass.
That was a moment.
What
Live
is
theater,
happening?
folks. Live theater.
Like,
I've been to a couple of those shows too, where I don't know if they forgot the line or said somebody else's line, and you could see they're literally like, "Okay, I'm gonna jump to here."
right.
Things like that.
You know, that even happened with us in our big one, the play that I wrote with my first time writing a play, Suicidal Blonde, with playwright Tom Mizuraka. That's right behind you. And the lead, Kimmy Robertson, who's an amazing actress with a huge career from Twin Peaks on Showtime, and so many other movies and TV shows. She does all the voiceovers for Disney. She was great, and she literally at one point skipped a page, just a whole page. And then, so the other actor next to her is kind of like, all righty then, so where shall we go with that one, I'm thinking. And she just keeps going. She's just dialoguing, but on the other page. And
Right.
so the one who plays her mom is behind her like this. Well, okay then, I'm going to, let's find a cue word there. And the one who's playing Rex Hutton's right next to her going like, golly gee, what am I gonna okay. And I'm off to the side there, you know, pacing back and forth going like, how are we gonna figure this one out, because there's a lot of information on that page. She realizes it, I think, about halfway through, and the pro that she is, she's like, well, I'm just gonna combine them both, so I'm gonna go back now to the other page I was supposed to be on, and I'm just gonna start going to give all the audience the information they're gonna need. And then I'm going to pick it up back on the other page halfway through where I left off. And I was thinking to myself, how's this going to work? But hey, let's see. Let's give it a shot. And it all worked out, and the audience was none the wiser. Right?
Okay,
and
tell
the
us.
actors were smart enough to go, okay, I got you. I know where you're going now. Okay.
Tell us, how about after the show, backstage? Did they talk about that whole?
Oh, yeah. That all happens after everybody leaves. But I was very fortunate. We had a really great cast, and everybody got along together really well. And it was directed by Candy Milo, who was amazing. She's got a huge career of her own, one of the probably the most famous voiceover artists in the country. An amazing singer, was in the original Dreamgirls. and writer and director herself. But this was the first play that she had directed. Amazing actress too. She's in a big Tide commercial right now that's going on, running like crazy. But TV shows and movies, everything. There's literally nothing Candy Milo can't do. And I'd known her for a long time from back in my days at William Morris Agency. And I said, would you direct this for me? And just like that, she read it and said, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. But so, they all have their short-term back, I'm so sorry, don't worry about it. Let's move on. Let's do it. We're going to be okay. It worked. It's live. Stuff like this happens, but you have to help each other on stage as actors. Right. And sometimes you have to save each other. So they were all prepared. The other actors were at some point, listening very intently and where they might need to jump in. But fortunately, like I said, Kimmy was a pro enough that she was able to realize it halfway through, jump back to the other page with the information that she needed to give to the audience for what was going to happen a few pages next, and then go back to the page where she had left off and kind of make a way for it to feel like it was together.
I've often heard actors say that it's good acting, and especially if you're on stage, is like a good tennis match. You play hard, you swing hard, and it's basically bouncing off each other and where it goes. And then if someone flubs up a line, you pick that ball back up and figure out how to get it back in the air. And I've seen that several times at
absolutely
at the Whitefire. Okay, now we're going to switch to this guy here. You know this guy here?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
He's much better looking than I
am. That's him, in case you're wondering. Hold on, let's see. I want to grab this, and I want you to tell us a little bit. Let me close this one and open this one. Tell us a little bit about these scenes here. This is Jake at work. I know what this is because I saw this episode. Do you recognize it?
No, I'm seeing the Hollywood Shorts ones and Company Shorts.
You're not seeing the new one?
No, I'm not seeing the new page. No.
Okay, let me stop it and start. We'll try it. Here we go. How about now?
Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. What's this?
Dr. Ken.
Yeah, the Dr. Ken show, right. The chief of thoracic surgery. There I am.
How funny.
Now, working with Ken Jeong was amazing, actually.
Tell us about that. How is he?
He honestly, I've known him for many years. I was very fortunate, actually, to work with him as his acting coach for many years as well.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't even believe he picked me. But he had we just clicked, and...
So this is before the big drunken movies? What were they called?
The Hangovers.
The Hangovers.
Right.
Before that?
I got to work with Ken on Hangover 2 and Hangover 3.
Oh, cool.
I actually worked with him on those movies, yeah, as well as while he was on the TV series Community as well. Yeah.
And I love this show. I like this series he had. I don't know why they got rid of it.
I really don't understand, to be honest, either. It was on Friday night. It was great family programming. It was funny. It was very real.
The cast was hysterical.
Slightly based on his own life.
Right, and who was his boss? I want to say David Spade, but no.
No, Dave Foley.
Dave Foley.
From the Kids in the Hall. It really, honestly, when I worked on this set for the week I did the episode, from the time I came in there in the morning, things were already moving like a machine. There was no drama. There was no, prima donnas there.
Nice.
Everything was literally smooth to the point where in between, while you're waiting for them to readjust lighting or sound or do a costume change or a set change, people are hanging out, getting to know each other, sharing a laugh, telling a story. And that's the greatest part about, these shows is, those connections you can make, while you're doing a TV show. Sometimes, and I've been on other shows where it's such a business, they just need you out of the way. So whether you're back in your trailer or you're in the corner in the dark there, or you're on another set, they just need you out of the way. And they're not really interested in what you have to say or in anything else. Okay,
I gotta say, I watched this commercial here, Every time. You don't even have to see you throw the pillow, and you know what's going on.
It was a great day. Yeah. Stephanie is the actress who plays my wife, and she's been doing this a long time as well. And this was a really easy, fun day of shooting.
One day? Just one day?
Yeah, just one day in the commercial. I think actually, I don't even know that we did a full day, to be honest, because the director of this commercial had, whose name escapes me here, I apologize for a second, but he's been doing commercials for a long time. He knew exactly what he wanted. He picked both of us. We'd both been working for a long time in the business doing commercials. And our chemistry, we knew each other as actors as well. So our chemistry was there. We gave it to them in the audition room. They booked us. It was there on our filming day. We had a lot of fun. And he was like, try it this way, try it this way, try it this way. And a little faster, a little slower. You know, those were the adjustments that were made, and that was really it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. And I think that was part of the charm of the commercial was that it was real. It was supposed to be a genuine, you know, event that a husband and wife would be having late at night. You know?
How many takes did you hit her with the pillow?
At least 6 or 7.
You got to watch the commercial.
Too.
All right. How about this guy?
Oh, this was funny. Okay, so this was the T-Mobile spot that I did with Swift River Productions. It's a great production company, actually. My cousins are the owners of the production company. And I think this is one of the ones where they got the casting director to bring me in, but said, you know, we're not sure if you're going to book it or not. Obviously, it's not up to us. The advertising agency, the producers, the director have to make their choice, but we'll make sure the casting brings you in as an option. Okay, so great. You know, I'll give it my best shot. I've been doing this a long time. I booked over 200 national commercials, right? So you're grateful for every job. You really are. But at this point, you know, it's part of a numbers game, and you can't control a lot of the aspects of this business anyway. So you're just grateful somebody cares enough to think about you, to bring you in. So I wound up booking it anyway. The other people decided that they liked me. So in this spot, Reggie Bell
comes up out of the pool.
Yes, and at this point, I can't remember if he was with the Detroit Lions or the Miami Dolphins, but you know, well-known football player, and he comes out of the pool with the pizza and the new waterproof phone.
Actually, he comes up with just the phone.
Okay. Oh, that's right. And then he orders the pizza.
And then he goes back in the pool with the pizza, and you're on the right. Pool.
So it's one of those where the camera kind of pans to all the people around the pool who are watching, you know, Reggie Bush get out of the, sorry, I said Reggie Bush, get out of the pool. And of course, you know, he's really good looking and very muscular and all that. So this is the character of my wife who's, you know, trying to put the suntan lotion on me and then sees him instead and just squeezes it out all over me.
Okay.
And we're going to do like 20 takes of that too.
Okay. I bet that was fun. We understand. I understand you have a sense of humor too. Is that true?
Yes, I've been known. It's probably saved my life, actually.
Tell us about that.
Too depressed or anxiety ridden.
Tell us about
this. Was my through the years, you know, as you gain confidence as an actor, you want to try new things like writing or directing or producing theater, things that scare people. Because there's a significant amount of work involved and uncertainty in the results. So what I decided to do at this point is things were going well for me with coaching Ken Jeong and some other well-known actors. I was doing lots of TV commercials and voiceovers and occasional TV shows. And I decided, well, you know what? I could start to learn how to write, or I could do stand-up. And people suggested that I might be better at stand-up in there. And I had done over the years here and there, you know, some Dublin's was a big bar on Sunset many years ago, 2-story Irish bar. That was a lot of fun, big place to hang out.
Did you write your own material?
Amateur nights, oh, absolutely, yeah. And so I had tried it here and there and Kit Kat Club and a few other places over the years, but hadn't honestly really enjoyed it. It was scary. You know, and I'd only have a minute or 2 minutes anyway up there before the light would flash, like, you know, get down, you know, you're not that great. And now I decided, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to study. I'm going to get a coach. So Mark Lano, who at one point for many years, him and Bud were the owners of all the improvs all over the country. And Mark and his wife had decided to start a class, and then that would develop into coaching. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this the right way, and I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go to class, I'm going to take notes, I'm going to study, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to build how to write my own material. And that's what I did. I studied with him for several months. And then he said, okay, you know what, let's try you out. And I did a night here at the Improv, and it did really well. I was surprised. I only had probably on the first night, probably 2 or 3 minutes only to start, but it did really well. And the main theme was basically, why are dogs man's best friend? And in my particular case, it was because women can't be. And in my particular case, my subtext was my ex-wife, So the dog did everything you liked, and the ex-wife, when you come home and they greet you and they love you no matter what, has gone on. And anyway, it was a lot of fun. But in that particular picture, I was headlining on Sunday night at the Improv, I was so proud of it and so excited that I knew I had to film it because I didn't know if it would ever happen again.
It's very funny. It's on your website, so it's very funny. So, Father,
I played many priests.
I'm not.
My mother is very proud of this.
You're clean shaven too. I'm like,
yeah.
Wow. So this is a commercial?
Yes, this is a commercial for Experian, if I remember correctly, the company that checks your credit reports. One of the three, and I played the priest who's marrying Pauly Shore there, as you see, and the actress actually is very well known in the hair and cosmetics world. I believe she has her own company for hair extensions. Oh. I'm trying to remember what her name is right now. It begins with an M. That's not okay. Malaya Malat, but really great people, and had so much fun with that. That was a full day of laughs for sure. Yeah.
And I love this one. This is
this is, my gosh, we're going back here. This was
who is that teenager?
Highmark Healthcare, and I was the spokesperson for it. So at the end of each commercial, I would just say the line Highmark Healthcare, and I would put up my hand, and my hand would turn into the painted image of a hand. It was mostly in the Midwest and the East Coast, though, from what I remember. This particular
the photography on that and your look, everything is beautiful in that. So
thank you. Yeah, it was a great campaign. I made some good money from that.
There
and here we are, Suicidal Blonde. Yeah,
there she is.
This is my heart and my soul here for 2 years, putting this together with playwright Tom Mizuraka and putting it up at the Whitefire Theater. Finally, we did a staged reading of it earlier in 2019 in January as a fundraiser for Pet Orphans Animal Rescue, which was a rescue that my daughter had been volunteering at for about 9 years. So I really wanted to do it for a charity and to help some other people, but it was amazing. And
it's a funny show. So funny. She was hysterical.
I wrote it with her in mind from the beginning.
Yeah, the mother, the daughter, the sister, everybody was just.
Oh yeah.
It was
that was Candy Milo in a lot of that because we had to recast
the director
people. Yeah, as you know, I think you were there opening night. The woman who was originally cast as the mom, her husband found out that he had cancer.
Right.
I don't know how much I should say, but it was a bad one, and so her whole mindset, went. From A to Z, worrying about her husband and, what could happen and
the future.
Was hospitalized very quickly. And so we had to replace her. So Suzanne Blakesley, who came in, thanks to Candy Milo.
Suzanne. And I got to tell you.
She literally was incredible. She was off book in 5 days.
Yeah, I know. I know her because I've seen her in other productions and actually had worked with her. And what amazed me is we were there. It was opening night, and she was still on book because she literally got the script, 10 hours before, something like that?
Right.
And
days before.
She had the book. but she nailed that character.
Right.
She was so funny and snarky, and even though she had to read a couple times, you obviously
Right.
she's reading. It just you once 5 minutes into it, you ignored that she was holding the script.
Exactly. I mean, she asked to hold the script just to give her that extra boost of confidence.
Right.
But even in the run through that we had done the night before, she had only looked at that script once or twice.
Yeah.
And she literally only had that script for 5 days before we opened. That was it, 5 days.
Right.
And we had to, force those
Amazing job.
rehearsals.
Yeah.
And
she had great chemistry.
Just her schedules. She was really great. I mean, Candy Milo is the reason that happened, and she truly knew how to pick
Wow.
the right person to get in there and do that, and not only just do it, but do it so well and do it in 5 days like that.
Oh.
And Carlos Alizraki, who got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor playing the character of Geraldo. And that was
That's
so
funny.
great. He was incredible again. Really, I
forgot about that guy too. It was
again
hysterical.
Candy Milo. He was just incredible. I mean, he was everything we expected from the character, and then gave the spin and that combination of authenticity, but just absolute side-splitting hilarity.
Oh my God! It was just tears. It was that kind of funny. It was
stole the show.
side-aching tears. I forgot about that until you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 3 points here. Okay, and hopefully I'll remember all 3. Number 1, Jake, you obviously you've written, directed, you produced, you act. Tell me you sing and dance too? Do you?
I don't.
You don't? So we're not going to see you in Hamilton anytime soon.
No, but that Hamilton is enough to inspire somebody to learn how to sing or dance.
Oh my God.
In my opinion. And truthfully, between us now and the whole world is watching, in the back of my mind, singing is one of the things that I do want to learn how to do, at least. Even if I don't actually perform on stage, it is something that I would like to learn how to properly sing.
Absolutely, and you've got nice lines. This guy's tall and thin, and when you get in a suit, you're like you could learn a few steps and do a little Fred Astaire too. I think, but
I've had several friends that were performing in different places, Hamilton, and when I first saw it, I thought to myself, of course, I'm just here to support somebody I know and to see a great show, and I can't believe that I got them as rush tickets, which is as a member of Actors Equity, you get them for a greater discount price. And I thought, well, there's nothing in this show that I could possibly be part of or do, not having seen the show, right? And I was so excited that this was embracing, actors of all different ethnic backgrounds and cultures, and incorporating it into a history lesson that shows the whole world that we're basically all the same and everybody can do everything. And it was so positive and supportive of so many levels. Okay.
right.
And I went, and then of course the King of England comes out, right? And I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could be the king in Hamilton. And so again, in the back of my mind, I was like, well, maybe you ought to look into those singing lessons, Dancing, I don't need it right now. But singing, I could maybe, And he doesn't really even sing. It's a very mild version of that on the show. But
it's a memorable song, though. You walk out of there remembering the song. So,
right.
Okay. Second point I wanted to talk to you about is, the theater obviously has changed since March. I've talked to a lot of people, producers and directors, who have joined the electronic age, and Zoom has become a theater platform. What's your feeling on that? As far as, you're going to wait till a vaccine, I assume, before you start doing?
Well, in regards to my part at the Whitefire Theater at this point, it's non-existent, unfortunately, because of COVID-19 pandemic. Brian Rasmussen is fortunately, keeping things going over there with the Solo Fest. So it's one-person shows where they can, maintain.
And a lot of people are doing that.
They need to do that and to stream the shows. So the actor can make money and get reimbursed from the cost of the lighting and sound production rental by going online. And I think it's $9.99, something like that. And you can pay for it and watch it live during the performance, or after the show, go online and watch the show at your convenience, at home or work or wherever you're at.
Wow.
So they're not only live streamed, but also then recorded, which is brilliant. It's a great idea, and it's a great opportunity to keep the theater alive. And he's also going to be doing a Black Lives Movement version now of the Whitefires coming up, which is an amazing opportunity for so many artists to have their voice heard. And that's starting this summer as well. So I'm not part of that, though. That's all directly with Brian and one-on-one with each artist who does their solo show.
Right. Do you think they'll take that into consideration? Like, say everything opens up, the vaccine comes out, everything starts going back to normal. Do you think you're I always wondered about this. Like original productions like your Suicidal Blonde, why don't you record them? If anything, for posterity, or for situations like this where you can present it.
Well, for the non-union shows, like we talked about earlier, the 10-minute comedies and the Dead Pilot Societies, which were 30 minutes long each, we did record all of those because they were non-union productions. And so as part of a gift, every actor and the writer and directors, everybody got a DVD copy. For Actors Equity, which is what my production of Suicidal Blonde was, because all the actors, or some of the actors, were members of Equity, you're not allowed to record the show without payment of one additional show to each actor. So it says you have to pay them for an additional show, each one, and you have to have their permission. So there's contracts to fill out, a paperwork that's required in there to do that. And you're still not allowed to distribute that recording without the permission of Actors Equity. So they have to approve of where it's going to be shown.
So do you think this pandemic will affect your future contracting when it comes to stuff like this? Because I'm sure this isn't going to be the only pandemic.
I mean, it's a good point. Nobody really knows how long this is going to last and at what point we're all going to be operating.
Right.
For theater especially, because everybody's in such close quarters. When you're sitting in even a 99-seat theater or a 50-seat theater, you're so close your elbows are literally touching when you're sitting down in some of the cases. So that's not an ideal situation for people to be in if they're concerned about catching a virus.
Right, but so, if you record the shows...
Correct. That's the live streaming and the opportunity to support your fellow actors, directors, writers by seeing it live streamed and paying $10. And then if you can't be available because you're at home with the kids or you have to work, you can watch it the next day or the next weekend. Yeah. You just pay for it again online. You're still supporting the actor. You're helping them at least reimburse, hopefully, their costs and to continue their opportunity to be creative. So it's a great idea that the Whitefire has been doing. And I think it's working successfully as well, so I think it will continue to happen.
Okay, here's an off the
When you have one actor on the stage, it's a lot easier. You've got one person behind doing the sound and lighting in the booth. You've got one actor on stage communicating, right, their vision. Maybe one director in the audience, that kind of thing. But if you've got 6 actors on stage like we had, that's a different story, because the actors, to keep them 6 feet apart on the stage while they're doing that dance, so to speak, you know, during the performances, that's a little more challenging. Plus actors, you know, emote. So there's the choice, you know, like we saw in Hamilton, get a little spittle, you know, things like that.
Little.
People are screaming, yelling, crying, laughing.
Anyway, you know, I have another off-the-wall question, like your poster there, your postcard or whatever. Yeah, that was your poster. A lot of times as press, when I go to interview or go to review the shows, I get the press stuff. Why don't they ever put, you know, you've got the September 19th through the October 1st, whatever, but you never put the year on them. Why is that? Is that
a good question? I think because it's not, you know, in hindsight, I understand what you're saying now, because as kind of a memorabilia, that would be great. But at the time, I know some directors and producers don't even want to put the actual dates on there, because if there's an extension or a change that's necessary, you've got to pay for the new postcards, the new signs, and all of that. So they want the information that's necessary. You know, if we all had the opportunity, it would be like a magnetized strip that you could, you know, add and replace, so you could change the dates and things like that. And
Right. Well, the way I was
question.
the way I was thinking of it, there's only one September and October every year. So
Right.
it's not like if you put 19 or 2020 on it, it would, you know, it would make that much of a difference, because you're obviously looking at it for a future performance. But looking back, I'm like, I was trying to remember what year that was. That was last year or the year before?
No, this is last year, 2019.
That was 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was so good. Okay. Finally, there's a lot of new actors, new writers, new directors, new producers out there. Any words of wisdom for somebody who wants to do, I mean, after the COVID situation, who would like to do what you do? You know, obviously being a commercial actor is, you know, difficult because, like you said, there's it's a numbers game. But obviously you're talented enough that you've been working a lot. Any advice you'd give to an actor, director, writer?
Absolutely. First of all, I think part of my own success in this business, and a majority of the people that are still working in this town, the longer you're in this town, the smaller it gets, truly. And the reason is because we realize it's not actually about you. It's about all of us. It takes a village is the expression. It's a community. You know, you hear that a lot in this town, and it is. I can't do everything on my own. I just really can't. And if it's only about me, then I'm going to be constantly anxiety-ridden, frustrated, sad, depressed, because it's not about me. I'm a cog in the wheel. So whether I'm on a play or a commercial or a TV show or a movie, there are other people involved that are required to make this whole process work. So I always encourage up-and-coming actors and aspiring writers, producers, you know, start with something. So whether you just join a theater company, just do it. Just join it and audition and do one show and see how you feel. And if you like it, continue. If you don't, it's okay. You tried it, you gave it your best shot. Maybe switch over to a writing class. You know, there's opportunities at every college out there. There's community colleges that offer very inexpensive writing classes. And there's groups. There's actor groups on Facebook and Instagram for everything. Writing, acting, doing monologues. There's so much opportunity now through the technology to be able to attempt something at a very small cost.
Wow.
Try it. Right? So if you
but
don't
give it
know,
your best shot, right?
Exactly. And just try. And through that process too, these pages on Facebook and Instagram, you're networking, you're meeting new people, like-minded people, kindred spirits, I call them, people who understand what your interest and your love is and appreciate and hopefully respect you because of that. Even though we don't even know you, we have the same, we're here for the same reason. And when you maintain that concept and philosophy, all you want to do is help somebody else. Because you know at some point somebody's going to help me, right?
Pay it
and
forward.
What comes around goes around.
Pay it forward, yeah.
Exactly. So if somebody says, hey, you know, they do this all the time. Somebody will reach out to me at 2 o'clock in the morning and have 2 questions for me because they think they're about to have a meeting with an agent or they're about to audition for a play. And so I just answer the questions. But in my mind, I know that I'm helping in a very small way, but at some point, you know, maybe I'm going to need to reach out to somebody who's, you know, more experienced than me and say, hey, could you maybe throw in a good word for me when I go and audition for this thing? Or, hey, you know, I heard that you worked at a publishing house. I'm looking to produce my play Suicidal Blonde. Wow. Could you put in a word for me with the publisher? Which is what I just did recently. You know, so I read, it's all that, you know, there's so many different aspects of this business, you know, called show. And if you're not just looking out for yourself, but you're looking out to be part of the process and part of the community, then it's a natural way that you're going to be giving to other people. You're going to be asking for help. You're going to be sharing your talents and ideas. And your props. Hey, they call me up. Jake, do you have a chair that looks like a? Yeah, actually I do. Okay, I'll bring it over. I'll throw it in the car. Okay, great. And then a year later, I'm like, hey, you know what? Do you have yeah, I've got a bunch of these jackets that you could use for your show. Okay, it's people helping each other. And it's the best feeling in the world because nobody feels like they owe anybody anything. And everybody's so grateful to have that. And appreciative, and yeah.
Wait a minute, Jake. Wait a minute. Okay.
I know.
No, it's beautiful. It's like if the
that's
world
the
would
reality
think,
of this business. It really is. It's all these working directors and writers and producers and hairstylists and makeup and production that all are just grateful to have the job they have and understand that it could be gone at any time. And this is another thing that COVID is reminding us. All this hard work, all this time and effort, and we're just all being put on hold, and it's nobody's fault.
Right.
So we have to figure it out. But you can create your own content, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people writing stuff and putting it on videos, and like yourself,
Zoom
podcasts, and everybody's creating something different to be able to share their experiences and their talents and their interests. And in that process, you're inspiring a new generation, a new group of people who are watching it going, I'm stuck at home and I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know if I matter anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. Who am I because I lost my job? Who am I? I'm stuck at home and I'm lonely. Well, now you could just, turn on Facebook and Instagram and the Geek Authority and go to YouTube, and you have all this entertainment that's here for you.
Or advice. This last 5 minutes, I would tell the whole world. I mean, what you just said, because you apply that kind of philosophy to all businesses, and whether you're a chemist, a doctor, whatever, and you're getting down on yourself, it's like, well, remember, we're here together. We're all in this together, and like I said, I'm like, okay, you're getting me emotional here. That's how good he is, folks.
Thanks.
Anyway, if you notice, I put your website up there. You can see his.
Okay, thank you.
You can see his improv. You said it's only 2 or 3 minutes. Seems longer than that, but
the stand-up comedy. I think the one that's up there, maybe the first night I headlined at the Improv in there. That it may be a little bit longer, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes in there. Yeah,
it cracked me up. So
thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Any final words you want to say? I mean, you pretty much made the world feel better.
Just keep yourself busy. Wallowing in self-pity doesn't do anything for you, doesn't help. It's a challenging time these days.
Right.
And reaching out.
And for your health.
Yeah. I'm eating better than I ever had. I'm not drinking alcohol.
Strawberries.
Occasionally I'll slip and have something, but for the most part, I just want to be able to be ready to go when we can get back out there. Wearing my mask, on the few occasions that I do go outside. As you can see, I'm doing some painting. I like to oil paint, so I'm doing a lot of that as well, which is great. It's an easy distraction, keeps me very focused for a couple of hours. Whatever it takes for you, jump online, listen, watch the Geek Authority, listen to a podcast.
That's why I love him.
Write a monologue, write a song, write a poem. Anything creative outlets usually will help your spirit and your mind, together to just even temporarily find just a better place to be. Because
Positive
it's be over, and we will move forward, and we will find a new way to exist in this world after all this is done. And it may be different. It probably will be different, but that's okay. And that's one of the great things I like about this town is how resilient we really are. And we don't remind ourselves of what we are capable of until we're forced into some adversity. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, all right, I cried for a week and I felt sorry for myself for another week. And now the reality is, what are we going to do?
You reminded me of that famous line in Jeff Bridges says in Starman, referring to mankind. that we are at our very best when things are worse.
See?
That's when we come together and go, you know what? Time to change.
Exactly.
Okay, I thank you so much, Jake. This was amazing. This was like I'm going to go build a mountain right now because I'm so. I don't know. I got to do something.
Well, you can do it.
Yeah.
We're here to help. It'll take a few more people, but
I'm getting at that Yoda age now. So, but anyway, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Again, check him out on his website. A lot of clips of his performances and commercials, and his stand-up is there. In case you haven't, which I hope you have, above here is subscribe. Please subscribe, Geek Authority. We have several other shows, collectibles, and things like that. I've interviewed directors, producers, celebrities, actors and things. So please check it all out. Any questions, put it below. I put Jake's links and stuff below. So if you want to click on his stuff, you can do it easily. Any questions for me or Jake, I will happy to put them down there. If I can't answer them, I'll say, hey, Jake, someone asked, what's your shoe size? And I'll
Oh, I forgot to promote the new movie, Red Pill. First-time director, Tony Award winner, Tanya Pinkins.
Okay.
Starring Ruben Blades from Fear the Walking Dead, Colby Menifee from The Boys, Kathy Curtin from Orange is the New Black, Catherine Irby from Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Luba Mason, Adesela, myself. Amazing cast in here, and it is incredible. You could check it out on Deadline Hollywood, just released it, Red Pill. It's on my Facebook and my Instagram pages as well. And it is it's basically a suspenseful horror film, an original, hopefully coming out around October. But it's about literally, systemic racism mixed with some corrupt politics. So we're literally living it right now, right?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, really, it's incredible. It's getting a lot of attention because of that right now, too. So check out Red Pill movie.
Red Pill movie. I'll be looking at that.
There's a little promo in there and an article about it on Deadline as well.
Okay.
I'm excited for this movie. I really am.
We're going to check it out. You check it out.
In there with great cast. Really amazing cast. Amazing.
Awesome. Okay. We'll say one more time.
Thanks, everybody.
So much, Jake. I appreciate it. Everyone else, do the button pushing and liking and all that other stuff. And we'll see you next time. Again, thank you so much, Jake. It was so much fun.
My pleasure.
You're talented. Oh, my God. 4 stars, 4 popcorn boxes from me.
All right.
That's what I put in my reviews. And thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.